Both of them used jabs essentially as probing and parrying weapons. Camacho was very ineffective with his jab in the first fight. Harold Letterman, are there any rules that can contain these guys?
Okay, Larry, the rules tonight will be those of the World Boxing Organization. 3 judges will score the fight on the 10-point must system. There will be no standing 8 count. You can only be saved by the bell in the last round only, and the 3 knockdown rule is in effect. And one very pertinent WBO rule brought out by Alberto Aliman, the WBO chairman of the board at yesterday's rule meeting, is that the fighters are only required to touch gloves 1 time, and that will be after the referee's instruction before the fight begins. Jim will see what happens.
All right, Harold, good idea not to touch gloves in the 12th. Right now, let's go up to our ring announcer, Michael Buffer, for the pre-fight introduction.
Ladies and gentlemen, main event. And the undisputed king of beer, Budweiser, in association with the Reno Sparks Convention and Visitors Authority, present the rematch. This fight is sanctioned by the World Boxing Organization. President Ramon Peña Acevedo, supervisor at ringside, former light heavyweight champion of the world, Jose Torres, and the Nevada State Athletic Commission, Chairman Dr. James Nave, Commissioners Luther Matt, Nat Carasali, Bruce Lane, and Dr. Elias Ghanem. The executive director is Chuck Minker. Our 3 physicians at ringside are Dr. James McLennan, Dr. John Whitman, and Dr. Flip Homansky. Timekeeper Steve Menzel. Counting for the knockdown seconds, John Rogers. The 3 judges assigned at ringside for this bout, scoring it on a 10-point must system, are Doug Tucker, Bert Clement, and Dave Moretti. And in the ring at this time, the referee assigned to this bout, working for the 15th time in a world title event from Tucson, Arizona, is Bobby Ferreira. And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the Reno Sparks Convention Center here in the biggest little city in the world, Reno, Nevada, let's get ready to rumble! 12 rounds of boxing for the vacant WBO Junior Welterweight Championship of the World. Introducing first, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the white trunks with purple trim. He weighs an even 139 pounds. Fighting out of Las Vegas, Nevada. His professional record, 28 victories with 13 KOs, 3 defeats, and 1 draw. Ladies and gentlemen, a 3-time world champion, Greg Haugen! And his opponent, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing the brown colors with fringe, and weighing in at 138.5 pounds. Originally from Spanish Harlem, but now fighting out of the Osage Indian Reservation in Florida. His professional record is 38-1, 16 KOs. He's also a former 3-time world champion. Introducing El Hombre Macho, Hector. Macho.
I know you both understand them. I expect you to follow them. Good luck to both of you. Shake hands. Go ahead and wait for the bell.
The question here, Jim, is will Camacho try to take Haugen and the crowd out of the fight in the very first round, or will he try to feel him out?
Weak slap of the glove by Camacho at that ceremony. He was not even looking at Haugen. Remember that Camacho was listless coming into the first fight. Not himself, has promised something entirely different tonight. Haugen has said that he will pressure Camacho from the opening bell, something he said he'd do in Las Vegas, but didn't do.
Already, George, it seems Camacho is more flat-footed than we're used to seeing him.
This time he's trying to establish, I'm a puncher too, just not a mover.
Haugen steps in with a left hook to the body. It was very effective for him in the first fight.
He start off in the same fashion he did in the first fight.
And the straight right hand lead, George, that was the other big weapon in the first bout. the jab. In the last fight, he was often inclined to step back, and now Camacho pins Haugen against the rope and gets off 2 or 3.
He's decided, hey, I'm not going to let you be bullied. I'm going to stand up and be the real Macho Man.
This is a different Hector Camacho. Appears much more willing to stand and fight.
There's a little 13-year-old by the name of Hector Jr. in New York. And you're talking about pro Hector Camacho, he's for him. So he's got to do some good things tonight for his sake.
Moving forward behind the jab, George. Hector didn't do that in the first fight.
He's the aggressor. He's old enough now because of a bigger body to do that kind of thing. Big legs, big shoulders. Now Hector lands left to the chest. Chest punches are not good for guys to take.
You saw Greg Haugen slip to his knees. It was by no means a knockdown.
Now, a right hand to the chest by Haugen. That's a dangerous shot for Camacho because he depends on his legs.
How can you take away the legs by punching to the chest, George?
You land an effective shot to the chest is like a vampire sucking your blood from you. And a fighter doesn't realize he doesn't have muscles there, so he lets you get away with it. Good jab to the body.
And the bell sounds to end round 1. A much more aggressive showing this time around by Macho Camacho.
I can't recall ever seeing Camacho in a round where he stood flat-footed for 3 minutes.
Our interpreter in Hector Camacho's corner is Ruben Castillo.
You got to be smart. He's much smarter. Give me the bucket. Así como está, cabrón. Me gusta hacerlo mejor para que le ponga la madre de saque de la paga. Así como está, todo, pero me lo prendo, ya me lo... He'll pay! He'll pay! One thing Camacho's style in the first round will do, it may help him in close rounds. Whereas before, he was always moving away and giving the impression that Haugen was the aggressor, and you're going to lose more rounds, close rounds that way, than if you're the aggressor.
Macho stepping in with a straight left hand is something he didn't do the first round. Like he wanted to try to get a knockout.
When we saw those punch back numbers for round 1, George, you saw the large number of punches for Camacho without landing. He often throws the jab at nothing but air.
This time he's actually following that left jab in, the right jab in with a straight left. I mean, and it's effective.
Referee Bobby Ferraro warns Camacho for holding behind the head while hitting.
And Haugen is a tough kid. I mean, he didn't expect this though.
Fewer than 30 punches in round 1. Haugen has been nowhere near as busy as he claimed he would be.
He's being surprised by this aggressive style of the Camacho man. He's standing his ground. He's not playing with the ropes at all. He's trying to fight him in the middle of the ring, which is odd. But he's been successful with that counter uppercut, left uppercut. Haugen is so dangerous, though. He's not going to be discouraged.
Question that based on what they said they do coming in, it is Camacho who is executing his plan. Haugen said he wanted to be in Camacho's chest. He hasn't been able to do that.
Camacho is fighting like a big man. Though he came in lighter, he's fighting like I'm the bigger man. I'm the most experienced.
A lot of people thought they'd never see it. A lot of people thought they'd never see it, George.
But Haugen is not intimidated.
with the right hand.
Camacho is trying to counter with one big shot, which is odd for him. Normally it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And none of the heavy shots have been to the body, so it won't affect Haugen later on in the fight.
Now the crowd tries to pick Greg Haugen up. You hear the chant, Haugen, Haugen, Haugen.
Macho is using the middle of the ring.
And again, following the jab in with the left coming behind it. There's the piston-like Camacho combination.
Now he's getting closer and closer to the rope. This may change things a little bit.
Está tirando muy bien el López, pero abierto, abierto. Métaselo por el centro. Stay in the middle, Ray. Stay in the middle. Por el centro. Come on, Hector, no need to hold, okay? Okay? Cool, easy, come on. Perfecto. No me pares de eso, man. This is mejor. Just start, picking it up just a little more. Yeah. Just start picking it up. You're doing fine. You're doing good. You're doing good. You're doing good, Greg. Picking up. Put up those punches now. So that right hand to his belly with minutes. Jab it to his belly. To his belly.
I didn't hear Haugen's corner giving him any answers to what Camacho is doing here. He's going to have to figure it out himself.
He's caught totally by surprise. This is not the Camacho he's expected to use the middle of the ring like that.
Well, Haugen expected that he would be the man to set the pace and dictate the tempo of the fight. It's been exactly the opposite way around.
When a guy uses the middle of the ring, you've got to use your jab in combination.
But Greg needs to box.
And he's not a boxer. He wants to slug it out. And to do that, the other guy has to back up and give him room.
And Camacho is not backing up, as you see. Continuing to dominate the exchanges, starting and finishing most of them.
The thing about that kind of style is it exhausts you. It takes a lot of water in your body before and after a boxing match.
Good point, because Camacho began to run out of gas as early as the 6th round in the first matchup 3 months ago.
It's going to be hard to hold that. You may have to rest for a few rounds and then come back later on.
He claims he's in real tip-top condition for the first time in his life.
He's in good shape just to be able to do what he's just done in the first couple of rounds. Boy, but he sees red in the guy's face. He's going to try and get a cut.
It looks like there's a little puffiness under the left eye of Greg Haugen.
And he's backing up, which is what he doesn't want to do. Camacho is in good shape. And Haugen hasn't landed a good...
That's more than puffiness. It's more than puffiness, George. You can see that there's a little cut emerging under the left eye of Haugen.
Macho is going to just stand his ground and work on it now.
We'll try to pick away with the jab.
Haugen should rush an outfield to take away something that's very new to Camacho to stand your ground. But Camacho seems to be in good shape. I guess the weightlifting program. Look at the veins in his arm. Haugen will not be intimidated by anything. This is a great fighter from the past.
But takes punishment in return.
If he backs up at all, Camacho is just going to get crushed.
Solid left hand from Camacho. Haugen momentarily stunned. Almost every time you see a fighter smile like that, George, it's because they've been hurt. That's right. Haugen trying to turn things around with the right hand.
Camacho is not experienced in going forward, so there'll be a lot of lunges on his part trying to be an aggressor. But if Haugen decided to let him use the middle of the ring, he's going to be in trouble. It would be best for him to go wild.
Go wild, start to brawl and try to pull him into the ring.
You cannot outbox this guy. Just go wild. Camacho is muscular. He's got veins all in his arms. He's been lifting weights.
take a look at a combination that Camacho landed in that round. He's fighting with more authority and confidence because he knows he's in condition. He's not trying to finesse his way through this because he feels he can sustain this for 12 rounds. It's Haugen's job to convince him that he can't.
Greg Haugen has begun to pick up the pace. He threw 47 punches in round 3, but it was still a round dominated by Hector Camacho. We counted him with 59 attempted punches, landing almost half of them. You heard Haugen tell his corner that he believes that the cut under his left eye is the product of a headbutt. Doesn't matter now. It's a perfect target for Camacho. Good left hand for Haugen. He follows it in to try to go to the body.
Haugen has got a lot of heart. Landed some important body blows that round.
Right hand by Haugen lands flush on the face. Again, the left to the body. Camacho standing his ground, though.
Haugen is starting to box. Use this jab a bit more over Camacho's right hand. I think it's a little too late for that. He should pile up some more points to win a few rounds before he starts that. Great body punch.
Doubling up with the jab and following with the left. Camacho going after that cut under the left eye of Greg Haugen.
Haugen just landed a very important body shot there.
And there's a body shot from Camacho coming up and under with the right hand. Another punch he didn't throw much in the first fight.
I don't think that was really intended to be a body shot. He just landed. But now you'll see a little bit more bump in the ropes by Camacho because of that last body shot. That shot hurt.
But now for the first time in the bout, George, Greg is beginning to back Hector up a little bit.
It's all because of that straight right hand he threw to Camacho's body. It takes a minute to recover from such a punch.
Still the blazing hand speed for Camacho. In those instances when he holds his ground. Right hand to the face by Haugen. Left hand inside by Camacho. Haugen stunned again.
Macho is determined to stay away from the rope.
Good idea.
Once Haugen is able to make him touch that rope, his spirit couldn't be broken. That's what he does not intend to do, is touch the rope. First time now, you're going to see a different fight. He did touch the rope.
Round 4, the most competitive in the fight so far. Haugen set the tempo early with a couple of hard punches.
Camacho's got a lot of power. A lot of people don't give him credit for it, but he has power.
Well, how can you say that, George? He's only had one knockout in his last dozen or so fights.
He's just not interested in finishing anybody else out. Because to be a finisher, you take a chance. You may get hurt yourself. Power sometimes without the instincts of a finisher. Maybe he was hurt early in his career. Haugen is coming on now.
Too early to say that Haugen is turning things around, but this has been a much better showing. He's still taking a lot of punishment, though.
That was Haugen's best round. But Camacho did very little backing up, even when he took a couple of clean punches. See the fight after 4 rounds.
Larry, 3 rounds to 1, 39-37 favor Hector Camacho. In rounds 1, 2, and 3, Greg Haugen walked in and got nailed by quick combinations in each of the first 3 rounds. But in round 4, Haugen moved in and started landing good, solid right hands to the body to win the 4th round. But I'm wondering how bad the cut is over Haugen's left eye and whether it's going to be a major factor in the next few rounds.
Haugen is looking over to George and indicating that from now on he's going to be taking over the fight.
And between rounds, the men in Camacho's corner told him to use the uppercut more. They said when Haugen comes at you and misses, counter with the uppercut. Come up and under.
If Haugen can make Camacho's back touch that rope just 2 or 3 times, he can change the whole face of this boxing.
Isn't happening yet. Solid left hand by Camacho. Backed Haugen up.
stepping right into Camacho's range and not throwing a punch. Once you step into his range, you got to do something or get out of it.
Heard the referee telling Haugen it was a little low. No point deducted yet.
Now Camacho is taking a little break, trying to assess his damage.
Left hand to the chest of Haugen. You see any early signs of tiring, George?
Haugen just landed a great effective body shot again. It was right in the mid-chest there. Tell you, once his body started hitting that rope a few times, Camacho's back hit it a few times, the fight is going to change. But right now, just has been happening. Only twice so far I've counted.
Haugen just missed with a right-hand lead that could have done damage. Crowd tries to pick up the Washington State native one more time.
Third time Camacho's been on that, had his back against the rope. Things are going to change.
There came the uppercut. Didn't have much on it. And as you said, George, Haugen coming forward but not busy enough.
You get into Camacho's range, you've got to throw some punches, otherwise you're going to get hit yourself.
Loose piece of tape on Hector Camacho's glove. The chance for a little rest for both fighters.
And this one here.
Haugen stands right above us and waves his arms to try to excite the crowd. And half the arena stands up.
So far, Haugen has had a greater impression on the crowd than he has on Camacho. He better start having more of an impression on Camacho, because if he lets him go like this, Camacho will just stand there all night.
Another slip.
Believe me, it's a slip, but it's not the effect of a slip. Those punches got a lot to do with that.
Solid left to the chest by Camacho. And you can see the effect of the little breather for Hector. He's suddenly much more energetic.
Never let a boxer stay in the middle of the ring. You keep him toward the ropes where he's trying to get away all the time. Haugen just was not prepared for the style.
Combine the aggressive style with Camacho's edge and hand speed, and so far, you've got big dividends for Hector.
I think we're all surprised.
Muy bien. You're looking real good, real good. That's what he needed. You got to move him. Move him. Keep him away from me. He doesn't know how to... Use your intelligence. A lot of intelligence. You're getting a look at just how many punches were thrown. As you can see here, Camacho is throwing and Haugen are throwing roughly the same amount of punches, but Camacho is throwing more harder punches in this fight than he did in the first fight.
Another important body shot by Haugen.
Come on.
Okay. Throughout the first bout, Hector Camacho would throw the jab and step back. Tonight, over and over, George, he's been coming in behind it.
He's staying within that middle of the ring, and he's taking over. It's one thing we don't let a boxer do. Haugen, he's landing good body shots, but he needs points at this point. He needs to be getting some points in there.
Good left-hand counter uppercut by Camacho. Right jab lands. There's a lot of artistry in this.
You'll notice this fight, there are a lot of empty jabs as in the first fight. Camacho is keeping him within his range.
Another solid left-hand uppercut inside by Camacho. Haugen had promised us he would go to the body over and over and over. He said he was going to tenderize Camacho's ribs. Hasn't been able to do that, George.
He's got him going back into the ropes now. If he can keep that going for the next few rounds, he can pick up a lot of points with the judges and, of course, potentially a knockout. Now Camacho is going to the body. This is the crowd.
Both fighters landed solid body punches in that exchange. Now Camacho finishes off an exchange. Superior hand speed again.
Haugen is really getting in his left jab occasionally now, which he wasn't able to do in the first couple of rounds.
Well, he stepped up closer.
When he gets into this range, he's got to land a punch. When he stands there, Camacho goes out.
Look at Camacho move in behind the jab. This is a whole different fighter than the one who took a defeat that he thought was unjustified down in Las Vegas. Now Haugen's able to get him to the ropes. Digging to the body twice.
Evidently, Haugen's corner has told him, listen, you got to get this guy up against the rope. You got to get him out the middle of the ring, break his confidence level. And occasionally he's doing it, but not enough. Sometimes you just got to break the rules and just walk right on it. Forget about the left foot forward and the right foot behind it. Just walk straight on in.
Do you think the fear of having that cut above his eye opened up is holding Haugen back from forcing Camacho into the ropes?
Maybe, but he's got a great corner man, a great cut man. I haven't seen much blood.
Make him mad. Make him mad. You got to move him more. He's tired. He's very tired. He is very, very tired.
He'll take like 3 shots, then he'll move back. Move in with him. Okay? And when you get inside, you've got to, boom, 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 boom. All right?
You must punch inside. The man's weaker than you. You're in condition. This man's you're in condition.
There's Camacho standing there watching, throwing a left right over, a tentative right by Haugen. I noticed between rounds that Camacho is bleeding a little more heavily than we're used to seeing, and which shows that this kind of fight, where you're active for more minutes of a round, is really harder on the conditioning than a fight where you're constantly dancing and moving. He has never experienced that before, George.
And, of course, we are at high altitude here in Reno. Haugen's been here 3.5 weeks, much longer than Camacho. He believes that should give him an advantage in the later rounds.
Camacho's been smart, though. He hasn't moved that much. So he's conserved a lot of energy.
Hector has been here in Reno at this altitude for 9 days, compared to the 3.5 weeks for Haugen. Greg believes that should be a big advantage for him. But the men in Camacho's corner were telling him that Haugen's completely shot.
That may be, but Camacho may better stay off the rope, off those ropes. He's going to give Haugen a lot of confidence. Haugen can take a good shot and deliver 2 more.
I think Camacho's too smart and too careful to believe that Haugen's completely shot at this point of the fight. We're only halfway through.
Fighters who are accustomed to going 12 rounds, they have breathing spells where they don't do much, sit around and pace themselves, and they come back a little later. Camacho is doing as much right now.
That was an interesting exchange on the ropes there, George. Normally we could expect Camacho to hold on there, wait for them to get split up, but he fought his way off the ropes with a good body combination.
Because his corners told him to stay off those ropes evidently during training. So he's getting on the rope and he's thinking about, they're going to talk about me if I don't do something. So he's trying to really show them that, hey, I'm okay. His corner. Landed a good straight left hand that time, Camacho there.
Yeah, and there are people in the crowd who are now rooting openly for Hector. He's putting on a good show.
Haugen is hurt on his right side, too.
What do you mean by that?
Camacho's hit him right up below the right elbow, and it's hurt. Believe me, it's hurt.
Now Haugen's starting to land straight right hands, though. He's nailed a couple of them in the last 30 seconds.
Right side is hurt. That may change a little bit, too. You can only know when Camacho fakes him. If he covers up and tries to protect that side, you'll know for sure it's hurt.
What are you seeing here, George, that tells you that his right side is hurting?
I saw him flinch after one punch for certain. This is when the art of feigning comes in. Find out where a guy is protecting, what he's protecting, then you know for sure Camacho isn't doing that right now.
Well, you know, Haugen told us he'd been bothered for 3.5 years by a rotator cuff injury to his right shoulder.
Oh, that could be the whole shoulder and right side acting up on him then.
Good boy, Greg, good boy.
Don't stand up for nothing. He's got all the condition in the world. Moving. He is super tired. He's fat at 39 pounds, 139 pounds.
Picking at him away, you know, but you got to start picking up your punches now. Let's throw 3, 4, 5 punches. All right, not just 1, 2. Let's start picking it up a little bit now. Let's pressure the hell out of him. Okay?
Greg, your boy's punches there. When he stepped
Now here you see where Camacho went to the ropes. Haugen tried to do something, and Camacho, watch, just fought his way out there into the middle of the ring. You know, Camacho's going to a place he's never been before. He's never fought a fight like this that I certainly can recall. It takes a lot of energy, and let's see if he can sustain that through the rest of the fight.
Solid left hand from Camacho to begin proceedings in the 8th round.
Not only so, but he came out fainting to see, just check out what's going on. That's a surprise. He's a well-experienced fighter, Hector Camacho is.
Maybe he's seen the same thing you've seen about Haugen's right side, and he lands another left right on the button.
Haugen seems to come in, does the right thing, but he gets back out afterwards. Once you come in, you got to stay there until the bell rings. If Haugen can just get him there, stay there. Don't stop punching. Threw a good right hand to the chest again. Haugen did.
Right hand by Camacho. You know, there are two things happening here, George. There's a combination. But for a minute, it looked as though while Camacho was becoming more accurate and landing more consistently with harder punches, he was also beginning to satisfy himself with one punch at a time and then stepping away.
Right. Haugen is doing the right thing. He just steps out after he lands 2 or 3 shots. He gets out, he gets back again.
2 hard punches to the rib cage by Haugen before referee Bobby Ferraro was able to break them up. Round 8, and now's the time when Haugen promises that he would step up the tempo.
He has.
Haugen with a hard right hand just below the chin.
Haugen is going for broke now. He realizes he's behind on points. He's going to try for a knockout.
In 40 fights, Hector Camacho has never been knocked out.
Camacho is back in charge with his right jab now.
Good left hand by Camacho, but one punch at a time, and he's walking away, George.
He's trying to show his corner here. I know you told me to stay off the rope. He hit them, remember? A fighter has a hard time convincing his corner and himself that he's doing okay. Haugen Haugen at this point should just get close and stay close. He backs away himself.
Well, he's going to have to take some punishment to do it.
Well, they say a leopard can't change its spots.
Usted está
But
perfectamente
Hector
bien,
Camacho
pero no te quedes parado
certainly looks like
nada,
some
nada,
other
nada.
kind of beast
Y así
than the
como
one
hiciste,
we
y el 1-2,
normally see him in the ring.
Después de que te mueves,
After you move,
okay. Mike, esa izquierda está perfecta.
throw your left. It's perfect. Your left is perfect.
Okay. Esa izquierda cuando te jalas con tu mano derecha de él, la suelta está perfecta.
Harold, we've been through 8 rounds. How do you see it now?
Larry, 78 to 74, 6 rounds to 2, Hector Camacho. I mean, every time Greg Haugen comes in, Hector Camacho flips the right jab and throws that solid straight left hand and nails him. And I think Camacho's really winning it with his hand speed. But certainly he doesn't have the great legs that he did when he was a younger fighter, and he used to use the entire ring and turn his opponents constantly.
4 rounds to go, an uphill fight, it appears, for Greg Haugen.
We've been commenting all night about the difference in this fight from the first fight, and it's Camacho who's made the difference by standing his ground as he is right here.
Haugen smiles and shakes his head again. We know what that means.
The thing about Camacho, he's older now. When you're young, you waste a lot of energy, and you find out as you get older, hey, I can hit hard. Why do I have to run all the time? Make someone else run.
You think it's too late for him to learn to become a finisher?
Oh, no, he's going not a finisher, but he's going to become more of an aggressor. He will never become a finisher because of his instincts to be fast. You can't have it all. Sugar Ray Robinson in his last few years started to stand his ground and turned out to be a great puncher.
But finishing is an instinct rather than a learned art.
You just can't get that, but he can make guys back out, which he's doing now with a little.
The prescription from Camacho's corner was combinations and move to the side. Sometimes it's just one punch and move to the side, but he's landing.
He's pretty much the slugger almost.
Now here's a chance for Haugen, but Camacho is able to pull his way off the rope.
Oh, he's been told strictly to stay away from those corners. And every time he does, he look over to his corner and try to convince him, I'm going to be good.
Haugen chases Camacho into a corner with the left to the body.
Drops his hands and dares him to take a shot, too. Oh.
Taking a lot of punishment for the trouble of leaning in.
Well, he knows that he's the stronger guy in the long run as far as the will power is concerned. But he's back in the middle of the ring now. That's why Camacho seems to have the great advantage in the middle of the ring.
Hasn't been able to put Camacho in jail along the rope. Got to get the man into jail and then handcuff.
Dropping his hand then and daring Camacho. And Camacho, to the farm, is not going to take any chances. When a man's hands are low, you just can't see them, and you don't rush in.
So he's dropping his hands to ask Camacho to jab.
And Camacho is saying, I can't see your hand. I'm not coming in there. But when he picks them up, watch Camacho takes care of his work. He'll get a little more aggressive. Great fight.
Haugen might have stolen that round with his aggression, but he knows now that he has to do something desperate and dramatic to turn it around.
3 rounds, just like that one. You understand? 3 rounds, just like that one. Only more shots thrown. Okay, you know you can do it. You know you're in shape. We've worked too damn hard. You're getting stronger.
Not even use it. Let it go.
Yeah.
Drive with those legs.
Drive through it. Drive through that shot. Okay? Yeah. Watch for that right hand. That's what that
comparison of the two fights and the two fighters. And here you can see how Camacho is landing a much higher percent of his shots and throwing many more harder shots than he did in his first fight. The numbers confirm what our eyes tell us.
Round 10, 3 rounds to go. You heard Haugen's corner asking for 3 more rounds just like the last one.
Haugen's corner has done a great job with that cut. We haven't seen any blood in a lot of rounds.
The man who's listed as the cut man is Keith Clevin, who's also his aerobic trainer. And I agree with you, George. He's done a sensational job.
He's a champion with a cut man because that was a nasty cut. He just eliminated it as being a factor in the fight. Not even much swelling is there.
Crowd gets excited about a leaping left.
It embarrasses you more to get hit with those shots than it does hurt, especially when you're known to get out of the well shot.
Yeah, there was more flying sweat than impact on that one.
Come on.
Haugen is a bit behind on points, if you ask me. He should be in there, taking the fight to him until the last bell. But he's standing around looking for a knockout, which would cause the other guy to counter with more shots. Camacho.
Now, between rounds, for the first time, the men in Camacho's corner acknowledged that he was getting tired. But they labored to convince Camacho that Haugen was even tireder than he was. So he didn't have to change anything. He could keep being the aggressor.
I can believe he's tired, but he's coming forward, which is what you do in your road work. You run forward. So you can go forward a lot better than you can go backwards without having any effect on you.
Camacho's always amazing with his eye contact with people at ringside during the fight. He stole a glance at you, George, as he moved away from Haugen.
He continuously does so. I think he wanted me to continuously tell Hector Jr. that he's okay.
Now Haugen is able to get Camacho against the rope.
Randy's landing good, important body shots, but it's a little too late. He's got to go for it all now. Go for the head.
This is what Haugen needs. This is the fight he needs to fight.
Now Camacho is holding on a little bit. He found his back to the rope. A little too much.
Crowd gets excited as Haugen begins to execute what his corner wanted him to do. See if he can make it pay off.
Going with the straight right hand, which he's more effective with, but too left. Not enough of it. Camacho is an excellent body puncher. I didn't know he had that in him.
Good hard right hand by Haugen to the body, but he took 5 or 6 in return. Camacho waves his arms and walks around.
Movidito como este round, papá, y siguieron tirando las dos manos.
Keep throwing your 2 hands. Keep throwing both hands.
Así, Macho.
Just like that. Move a lot. Just keep moving. And keep throwing your hands.
No lo dejes que te tache nada, ni un guante. Usted es más inteligente que Haugen.
You're much more intelligent.
Right back in. Right back in with the right hand. Okay, get it going. Get it moving now. Come on. You got 6 minutes. 6 minutes. Let's throw some punches in there. Right off those elbows. Let's go. Up and go. This is what we're going to give you. Huh? This is of your life. Yeah. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
At the very least, Haugen has to land some damaging punches, perhaps win a round by 2 points in order to make it the kind of close decision that the first fight was.
I think it's a little too late for Haugen, unless he get a knockout, and he's capable of getting this knockout because he's a good puncher.
Well, no fight is ever over. You remember what James Toney did to Michael Nunn a week ago when Nunn was well ahead on points. But we haven't seen Camacho in that kind of trouble yet, and he still has the hand speed to counter off the rope.
Still has the speed, but he didn't even use it the first couple of rounds just to establish his strength. Haugen is still capable of getting a knockout at any time. Come on.
Greg Haugen told us he practiced throwing upwards of 200 punches in a round. In
Good right hand by Haugen.
Yeah, it was a good right hand, George. He's only thrown 50 punches around here tonight.
Another good right hand by Haugen, along with
And a left.
Macho shot.
Haugen starting to do some damage.
And Camacho decides to hold on for a while because he's hurt.
Haugen
He's not
talking
gonna show
to him
it.
through the mouthpiece. Trying to get under Hector's skin. He wants him to keep coming at it.
He's hurt. Hector Camacho is hurt. He's going to hold as often as he can. Each time you hold, the clock keeps ticking.
Best round of the fight so far for Greg Haugen.
Haugen's right side is hurt, no doubt about it. The clock is ticking while Camacho holds on for decision, he thinks. Cannot play Haugen cheap. Anytime he can knock him out. Camacho is hurt.
What do you mean by Camacho is hurt, George?
He's in
still
trouble.
fighting.
He's been hurt by a couple of shots. He's so instinctive, so slick that he knows what to do. This is the first time in the fight that he's actually went out and held on. And when you see a fighter doing that, just hey, I've won this fight. I'm not going to take any chances. And he's right at doing that. Every chance he gets, he's going to hold until he can get back to his corner and recover.
Just like that. That was another hard right hand to the body by Haugen.
And the clock keeps ticking. And the clock.
There's an old Hector Camacho habit that we hadn't seen at any other time in the fight. So now he's reverting to the habit that got him through the 5 or 6 years after the Rosario fight.
He's been hurt. Don't think he's tired at all. He's in excellent condition to be able to hold up under that.
But he landed a solid right-hand counter in there. Those last two combinations have been effective for Camacho.
Great round.
1 point. 2 shots, 1 point. 1 point. 1 point.
Well, it's becoming a tradition, isn't it? The 1 point deduction from Hector Camacho late in the fight.
Once again, the instigator, Haugen, has somehow goaded Camacho into doing something that cost him a point. You could see him mouthing there. And Camacho takes a shot after the bell, and the referee has taken a point away from Camacho. And the way this fight is going, once again, that can be a vital point.
Throw your head with your punch. Hit your head in here, boom. You know, don't throw it down, see? Where he can throw that uppercut on you.
3 minutes, guys, 3 minutes.
Harold, how do you have it now?
Harry, 105, 103, including the point that referee Bobby Ferrara took away. 6-4, 1 even. Hector Camacho. I think that he is 2 points ahead because of his hand speed. I think that Greg Haugen does need a knockout to pull this fight out, although Greg Haugen has closed the gap somewhat.
And you saw Camacho's corner delaying the start of the 12th round. Haugen went nuts in the center of the ring. And Camacho has suddenly some energy back.
He's got a screwed corner. They take this glove all over again to give him a little more extra rest. And he
Think
can't
of
hurt
Angelo
anything.
Dundee and some of the great tricks of fights in the past.
Great corner.
Camacho now is acting the way he should have in the first fight in the last round. He's trying to win the last round. He doesn't want this to be any closer than it has to be.
The corner trying to use Bobby Ferrara's deduction of a point to motivate Camacho. They said, look, the referee's against you again. You better go get him now. And Hector is responding.
And he's still holding. When he's not doing anything, he's going to hold. Haugen
lands a solid right, and
Camacho
Hector
is
wraps
hurt.
him up. Yeah, you see him shake his head there.
He's hurt. Two great fighters.
We've got 2 minutes of drama left. Crowd comes to its feet. And here comes Haugen.
Camacho knows that he's won this boxing match. Now he's got to hold on, cruise on into the final second. And like a true champion, he can't resist throwing a punch.
Well, he's won the boxing match, but the fight is yet to be decided.
Boy, I'd like to see number 3. Haugen is still capable of getting a knockout.
Come on.
Now both fighters are sucking wind. Haugen's mouthpiece drops out of his mouth. Bobby Ferrara hasn't picked it up. It's lying there in the middle of the ring. Haugen fighting without the mouthpiece now.
Let him go. Come on, let him go.
Right hand and the left by Haugen. Camacho staggers to the rope. Bobby Ferrara finally picks up the mouthpiece.
It's toe-to-toe now. The battle of the fittest. Haugen is the hero. Camacho, the matador.
Haugen yelling at Camacho.
He better be careful. Camacho can still sing it.
Right hand by Haugen. It may be the last effective blow of the bout. Both fighters are exhausted.
There are some things I never thought I would expect to see, and one of them is Hector Camacho in anything approaching a brawl, even for a few rounds. I thought he won a narrow decision on the lead he built up early in the fight, but it could be a very close decision.
I've got Haugen winning the last 4 rounds of the fight, one of them a 2-point round. Something unusual could yet happen again. Harold?
I think the fight is very, very close once again. I agree with you. I've got it 114, 113. Hector Camacho, 6-5, 1 even at rounds. I think it's one of these fights that I said in the first fight, it could go either way. Somehow or another, at crunch time, Greg Haugen seems to come forward. He does great in rounds 9, 10, 11, and 12. And you have to wonder if Hector Camacho is having a tough time making a weight because he tires so badly in the late rounds.
Here is Haugen coming on, fighting to the end. Will it be a bitter end, or will it be a glorious end?
What do you think, George?
Oh, there's no doubt about it. Haugen came on in the latter rounds, but I think Camacho stole too many of the first rounds to lose the boxing matches. That's why he was confident enough to hold in the last quarter. But close, because Haugen put on such a nice show at the end.
Something for both fighters to be proud of.
Oh, my goodness. When you see them hug like that, each fighter knows I've done my best. That's all that counts in the end. When you've
Let's
done your
go to
best,
Michael Buffer for the official decision with a lot of suspense.
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the official scoring. We have a split decision. Bert Clements scores the bout 115 to 112.
Hector Camacho has left the ring. First judge scores it.
Tucker scores the bout 115 to 112. He has it for Hector Camacho. And Dave Moretti scores about 114 to 113 for the winner by split decision, Hector Macho Camacho.
on the nose.
Hector Camacho must have thought that he was about to get the short end again. He left the ring and went halfway to the dressing room. Somebody convinced him to turn around and come back, and he got back to the ring just in time to hear that this time it is he who gets the benefit of the split decision. What a rivalry these two have going now. And we'll take a look at final punch stat numbers in the bout, which will no doubt show us that Camacho was slightly the busier of the two fighters, throwing about 125 more punches and landing at a higher rate. Haugen landed more hard punches in the late rounds, but the first 6 rounds were a brilliant display by Camacho. We go to Larry Merchant with the winner.
Hector, that wasn't like any fight we ever saw you fight. Why did you decide you had to be so aggressive?
Larry, to tell you the truth, I felt strong, I felt fast, but I still wasn't as accurate as I was in the gym. I made one slight mistake coming into the fight again. I had a little too late, and the body shot was bothering me. But, you know, this guy, the first victory he had over me, which I thought I won anyway, you know, just motivates this guy. Larry, I don't stay in the gym, I'm good. Either the age is getting to me, but I won, I thought I won, but still, it was like, it's getting hard. It's getting hard.
It's getting hard. Without the training you did, the serious training for the first time in your life, could you have won this fight?
Yeah, I thought I won the fight, but that fight, I know, I gotta get a little bit more sharp. I wasn't quite happy, Larry. I swear I wasn't.
Is he a better, slicker fighter than it appears from the outside of the ring?
Yes, he is. Because I can't reach him. I couldn't reach him with my jab. Even when I try, his jab was kind of being the last one to hit, you know? He fought a great fight. This guy, I don't know what to hate him, you know? I don't hate him. I still hate him because he gave me two terrific fights.
But he goaded you again into doing something that the referee took a point away from you for, and it almost cost you the fight again.
I thought, that's when I walked out of the ring. Because, you know, being in his hometown. But, you know what I mean? I gotta stay in the gym because I gotta get sharp. I still don't got what I'm looking for.
What are you looking for?
I'm looking for sharpness, awkwardness, everything off the flow, very effective. I'm trying, but maybe I'm just, you know, a little slight hesitating. I just gotta stay in the gym.
Is that because you're suggesting because you're getting older, or is it because you're trying to change your style?
No, I'm not trying to change my style, but it could be we both getting older.
All right. Do you feel, given the closeness of the first match, he won a split decision, you won a split decision this time, that you guys should have a third match to decide it all?
You know, with the kind of money that we're getting, at least I'm making, we should get on next month again. And then I get be a little more sharper.
You're saying for the kind of money you're getting, you'll fight him every other month?
Yeah, hell yeah. If he promised not to just pick up his strength or his pace a little better.
Okay, thank you, Hector. Jim?
Well, you heard it. He said for the kind of money that they're getting, he'd fight him every other month. You've already put in your vote for a rematch.
I'll tell you one thing, I'd pay it. No matter what the price of the tickets would be, I'd pay it.
Do you think Haugen would have a chance of winning a rematch?
Definitely. Hector Camacho is a great fighter. He's bigger, he's older, he's a puncher now. We're going to see a great fight in the near future.
This is a close battle. Off of a battle like this, does Camacho now deserve consideration for fights against fighters like Julio Cesar Chavez or Melzik Taylor, who sat behind us and at whom Camacho stared between rounds a couple times late in the fight?
As a matter of fact, I think he would do a lot better against those fighters because they would be a little more cautious in running in. Haugen was, hey, I don't respect you. He was able to get in a little more and be a little more effective than the other fighters would be. I think he could beat Chavez. I really do believe that.
That's quite a call, George. Let's go up to the ring and see what... All right, let's see what Greg Haugen has to say to Larry Merchant.
Time the split decision went against you. Were you surprised in the early rounds by the way Camacho fought you? And was that the difference in the fight?
Well, I wasn't really surprised. I think he was conserving energy. I thought I won the fight in the later rounds. All he did is hold. Fucking referee didn't do nothing. He did a shitty job. I mean, the guy held me 20 times, and the referee said, quit holding, Hector, quit holding. He never once ever did anything about it.
But he gave you a point for a little...
So what?
All right, but let's
he
talk
was
about...
holding, he was tired, he didn't want to fight.
Let's talk about the fight. In the first fight, you won many of the early rounds. You seemed to surprise him. In this fight, he built up his lead in the early rounds. What was the difference?
Well, I don't know. It depends on who's judging the fight. I don't think he built up an early lead, but I thought the rounds were close. You know, it's a split decision. That's 2 times. You think Dubas will give me a rematch? I doubt it.
Okay, so he has said he'd be willing to fight you. You want to fight him again?
Sure, I thought I won the fight.
Okay, Jim, we have a unanimous from the fighters. They will fight each other again. We'll see if the promoters and the public and HBO wants it again.
Yeah, we're going to find out, Larry. That's the good news. Haugen just said to Larry that he wants to fight Camacho again, so maybe you're going to get your wish, George.